What is art? Just think about that for a second, because that's what we've been talking about all day. What is art? Okay? It's not the painting hanging on the wall. For me, it's the experience. It's the moments. It's what's happening with that person when they're touching that clay, when they're working with those colors, when they're working with that soil. Okay, so it's an experience between the person and the materials, and that's the experience that I believe touches the person inside and opens them up to all sorts of beneficial and therapeutic results. Art is a personal creative act. And so again, what is design? Design is always has an intention, doesn't it? When you design for a reason. So my intention when I design therapeutic gardens is obviously that they're therapeutic, that they have a benefit for people. The benefit, I think, is for me a spiritual one. Start with the spiritual. If you design for the spiritual, then everything else follows. Because if the spirit is alive and well, that person is going to want to get out and do things and engage creatively. So I design for the spirit, and activity is that path through creativity. And that's the route to holistic health. I'm looking at the holistic, the whole person here. So I'm interested in the mind, and the body, and the spirit, and how this all comes together in the design of a garden. A lot of these pictures are gardens that I've designed. So hello, I'm Garuth Chalfont. I'm a landscape architect and a researcher here at Lancaster. And my particular project at the minute is secondary dementia prevention. And I'm looking in terms of nature in the garden and how that can all contribute to benefits. So for instance, we were just recently published, thank you very much, John, time-dependent associations with mood improvements for people with dementia. This was done through a garden project that I started back in 2012. It's now published, and we're happy to show that there are measurable benefits for people using these gardens. This was an early drawing that I did during the time that I worked with this garden and these particular residents and families and staff to renovate the garden and to make it more bespoke and more useful for the people who were actually living in the home at that time. My project with Lancaster University, I'm very grateful to be working with Professor Milligan and Dr. Jane Simpson, who may or may not still be here. And we're looking at mixed methods, multimodal, non-pharmacological treatments, and what works. So just thinking about the design of a garden, well, there's physical activity and exercise, and if you design for that, that's going to bring oxygen to the brain, and oxygen to the brain is a good thing. You can also combat frailty and cardiovascular disease, a whole range of different things through activities. And all this can be done outside. Cognitive stimulation. Well, gardening itself is a very mental activity because you're thinking and planning and organizing as you're doing your gardening. And there again, it's more blood flow to the brain. And particularly creative or favorite activities, whenever you're concentrating, there's more blood flow to the brain, which means oxygen to the brain. Diet and nutrition, you hear a lot about this. If you can grow your own food, great. If you can get involved in a community garden and grow food, that's a cool thing. But it's a bigger picture than that. You have to think about town planning. You have to think about food security. Can people afford good food? So social interaction. We've seen so much of that today. I'm really a bit overwhelmed by all of the good work that's happening out there. And all of that social interaction can happen in the garden too. Fun and enjoyment, and importantly, maintaining relationships. We saw a lot about people with dementia and the importance of maintaining those relationships. Day center and a community garden, those are optimal spaces for people with early stages of dementia who are still living at home, okay? So if you're looking at secondary prevention, you want to be working with people who are still living at home, and this is an optimal environment. This is an example of a garden, the Thrive Garden in London. It's called the Hearts and Minds Garden. And this is a sketch we did a few years back to show the various aspects of the garden they designed so people can use it beneficially. There's another garden here. I wanted to mention that I've done a design guide, and I've got copies of it for free here on the counter, and that's half of it, and the whole thing is to download off my website, and I'll show you the website at the end. But there's a lot of design criteria that needs to go into the garden, and it's all about engaging people in the garden. It's not just about health and safety. It's about all the other stuff. The Sow and Grow Service at Sydenham Garden in London, if you're aware of that. They have a 6-month therapeutic program specifically for people recently diagnosed. If anyone's been there or can update me on how they're doing, I'd like to hear from you. And then lastly, Charlie Fold is here in Bamber Bridge, and I've been very fortunate to work with the folks there to design the garden and design the program. And people are maintained to live at home longer. They also do a 12-week program. So what are some of the results of that program? Well, people are maintained or improve their skills. Between 60 and 77% of the attendants were able to maintain or improve their skills. And then that means they can stay in the program. 54% were able to stay in the program. Those people are still living at home, which is one of the main goals, isn't it? To try to keep people from having to go into care. So I'm also very proud to be a part of the Dementia Pioneers, and we're going to be talking at 2 of the health meals coming up. So if you live in Chorley or Leyland, come pick up a flyer. Dementia Pioneers, and that's the Dementia Care Handbook. You can download it off of chalfontdesign.com. So that in a nutshell is it. Whirlwind in 20 seconds. So thank you very much.